Hi, today we're going to take a look at the PLDT Tvolution box. Now this little box here basically turns any TV with a HDMI port into a smart TV with internet access, online video streaming, browsing, pretty much everything that you can do from an Android phone you can do from the Tvolution box. Now I should start by saying thanks to Trish over at iFlix and the people over at PLDT for sending me this box to review. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the video. Same for my subscribers. I hope you enjoy the video. Now this is actually a brand new Tvolution box that PLDT have just released in the last week or so. You may remember the old one was a bit smaller. This one still fits in the hand, but it is a bit bigger. And instead of being Hawaii branded, which is a very good brand, this one is branded Wacom, which I haven't heard of before. And at first I thought, oh, that's not very good, but I've been using the box now for a few days and it's actually really good. So the box is really performing well, so nothing to worry about there. So let's have a look at what you get in the box and how you actually set this up. It's really easy. So inside the box you get the Tvolution unit itself, you get the power adapter which just plugs into the wall, you get a HDMI cable which plugs into your TV. You get this cool remote control which acts as an air mouse, which I'll show you later, and it also acts as a keyboard. And then you get this little dongle which plugs into the box, which communicates with the remote control. So you just plug that into the USB port that's on the front here. As with everything USB, the first time you try it, it never works. You have to turn it over and plug it in. And you also get a Ethernet cable. You don't have to use this. This does have wireless, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, the newer one, which is really cool. I was really impressed when I saw that this supports 5 gigahertz. So you might want to use this, but if you've got good Wi-Fi, it's easier just to keep it, wireless. And you also get this setup guide and instruction booklet, but I mean, really, does anyone still use these? I don't think so. So the first thing we're going to do is plug the HDMI cable into the back of our TV. And then the other end into the back of our box. Now you have HDMI in and HDMI out. You want to plug it into the HDMI out. Now we'll take our power adapter and plug this one into the wall, obviously. And then the other end into the Tvolution box. We've already plugged in our little USB dongle thing for the remote control, so we're ready to go. You can see the Tvolution is now turning on. I'll get rid of this box because we don't need it anymore. And there you go, we're now onto the main home screen. Now it has been dumbed down from the normal Android interface, and when I first saw it I thought, oh, that's kind of lame. But then I thought, well, you don't really want a full Android interface because it's a TV. You just want to have it simple so that you can easily swap between things. So it actually really makes sense to have this kind of basic, simple layout. And there are some options to get into more advanced layouts. So if you want to go a little bit deeper and a bit more technical, you can. You have the opportunity to do that. So it's kind of awkward for me to peer around at the TV and do what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is actually go behind the camera and control it with the remote so that you can see easier what I'm doing and I can see what I'm doing. So let's take a closer look at the hardware. This is the remote control. You can see you've got your basic options on the front and then the keyboard on the back. I'm going to show you more about how this works in a minute. And let's take a look at the box itself. I'll just unplug these temporarily. So on the back you can see we've got DC in, it is 12 volt, only 1 amp, so it should be pretty low power usage. HDMI in, that's useful if you've got say a Digibox or something else, maybe even a Chromecast. You can plug that in and then you can easily switch between the Tvolution or your other HDMI device, but we won't really worry about that in this video. HDMI out, which goes to your TV. A LAN port in case you want to use an Ethernet cable to connect instead of Wi-Fi, and then over here we've got 2 USB ports. One of them is occupied by the dongle, USB dongle for this remote control, and then we also have a micro SD slot so you can add storage to this, or if you want to load up extra applications or something like that. And this is the bottom. It has the model name, Tvolution box model M210, power rating 12 volt 1 amp, made in China, and the brand Wacom Systems Inc. Now for anyone curious about the power usage, let's plug this in and see how much power it actually consumes. So when the adapter's plugged in and it's not connected to the Tvolution, it's not consuming any power, which is good. Let's plug it into the Tvolution. So the Tvolution should automatically start booting up. So we can see it's starting to consume power. So we're at around 3 watts right now. So I'm now streaming Family Guy from iFlix, which is taxing out the machine and also the Wi-Fi, and we're only at 5 watts. So we're probably looking at a maximum of maybe 5 to 6 watts for this box, which is pretty good. So now you can see I'm behind the camera, I have the remote here, and I can use the D-pad like this, but I can also press this button here and that will turn on the mouse. Now most of the time for this home screen you wouldn't really need that air mouse because you can just use the D-pad, but in other applications you might need that mouse. I've already installed the iFlix app, so let's test that out first. You can see I'm just navigating with the D-pad and then pressing OK to select whatever I want to select. So we're now inside iFlix, and you might be thinking, how am I going to select things, because this D-pad is just up, down, left, right. Well, that's where this handy button comes in. This turns on the mouse. So if I press that, you can see I've now got an air mouse. So when I move the remote control around, there's actually a mouse on the screen. So let's select Tomb Raider here. I just clicked on that. I can navigate page down like this. Although it doesn't work too well, to be honest. You're really better off just using the mouse and sort of dragging around like this. So let's click play. And there you go, it's now streaming. And I also have volume on here, or I could just use my TV remote control. And of course I can skip around. I just turn on the mouse like I'm on my desktop, click there, and it will jump ahead. So pretty easy to use, and it works well. So if you want to try that out, that works fine. Let's go back home. We just hold down the home button and we're back on our home screen. Now it does come with some of the PLDT apps, of course, like the Fox Movies, Fox Play, TV5 Mobile, also Miracast if you want to stream your Android phone to this. Like I said, there's so much you can do with this Tvolution box that I couldn't fit it all in one video, so I'm just going to give you kind of a brief overview. Of course you have a web browser, so we can open that. You can see right now I've got it on YouTube, so let's try and stream a movie. It's on the mobile version of YouTube, but I could also make it give us the desktop version. I have to be careful about what I play because if there's any copyright music, YouTube gets a bit funny about it. Let's try this one. So you can see it's playing okay. Go full screen. Skip forwards. Works no problem. So that's our YouTube. We can just go back using the back key here, and of course we can do other things like let's go to Google. So I just turn the remote control over and now I've got my keyboard and I can type on this. Oops. There we go. And then I can use my mouse to click here, and then I can either use the on-screen keyboard or I can just use the one in the remote. And then use my mouse, scroll around. So you can see it's really like having a regular desktop computer. It's a bit more limited, of course, because it's Android, but it's still pretty feature-packed. So now let's go home again. Now one thing you might like to know is it does have HDMI CEC, which means instead of using this remote, you can use your TV remote. So you can see like this, I can control it using my normal TV remote instead of the Tvolution remote. Of course, my TV remote doesn't have an air mouse or a keyboard, but for basic moving around this display and opening up certain things, it works just fine. Now you'll see this thing down the bottom, the knapsack. This is where you can install extra applications. You could also put them on a USB flash drive and load them up, like side load them onto this or a micro SD. But for a lot of apps you can get them here on the knapsack area, especially PLDT apps. If we go to watch, you can see we've got some Fox stuff, we've got iFlix, TV5, a few different apps there. Let's see what's on listen. Spinner, which is a pretty popular service. Lifestyle, let's check that out. Skyscanner, Morocco Move. So there's a few apps on here. If you have a movie on a USB flash drive, you can just plug that into one of the USB ports. And you'll see at the bottom, the USB icon has come up. So we'll go to our file browser. This might not be the best way or the only way of doing it, but it's a way. Let's go down to USB. And then you can see here, let's try open up an MP4. Movie player, yeah.
So now we're going to do some television.
And there you go. Now this is one of my own videos for YouTube, but it could just as easily be a movie or a TV show or something like that. Now also on my USB flash drive I have some games, so let's try and install Flappy Bird. Install. App installed, let's try open it. Now I think this is some kind of resolution problem. Current resolution is 720p at 60 Hz. I'm not sure why it's at 720. So I think I've worked out how to change it. I just turn off HDMI auto detection, then click here and set it to 1080p. And there you go. Now we're at 1080, that's better. So let's try play our Flappy Birds. I think the problem is that this is probably in portrait instead of landscape, so let's see what we can do about that. So there you go. This game is obviously designed for portrait, so this is kind of a little bit awkward. Got to try and work out how to get there. It's kind of confusing because up is not up and down is not down. Okay, click. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Okay, this is a little bit difficult. Okay, let's... how do I go? There we go. Well, okay. Evidently I'm not very good at this game, but there you go. You can install external applications and external games. For anyone curious, it's the M210 running Android 4.4.2 with kernel version 3.10.33. Now if you really wanted to use this more like a desktop computer, you could actually plug in a USB mouse and keyboard. So you can see right now I've got them plugged in. If I open the browser, you see, so I can use the mouse, see, and I can use the keyboard. So obviously you can type a lot faster on a proper keyboard. You could also install maybe an Android app that like a word processor or something like that, so you could put together basic documents, spreadsheets, that kind of thing. So you do have the option of, you know, unplugging this one and plugging in a separate keyboard and mouse, USB keyboard and mouse. Now the Tvolution box is for PLDT customers. Some customers will already have it included in their fiber or DSL package for free. If it's not included, then you have to pay 199 peso a month. There's also an option to buy it outright upfront and some other options, so it's really best to check their official website. But the cost is pretty reasonable. So I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. I am going to make some more videos because there's so much that this box can do. I couldn't fit it all in one video because no one would want to sit here and watch a 1 hour video. So I want to test it out with, you know, more games, more streaming applications. I want to take a look inside. There's still so much from this box. So this is just a very quick overview. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in the comments section below, because then I can, you know, look at those questions before I shoot the next video. And if you have something you want me to test, I can do that. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting. If you did, please give a thumbs up and subscribe.